Well, hello. Long time no see. Well, maybe not for you, but for me, because it's been a couple months since I've done a video. That's because, as you can see, I'm out of the studio. I don't know if I would consider the move from studio to spare bedroom is really not an upgrade, more of a downgrade. But what do if you're a cinematographer and the project that you're working on gets significantly cut in budget or in creative? Is you do the obvious, right? You switch to 4x3, which is what I've done for this video, and probably for all videos going forward. I do 4x3 because other people don't. And you want to set yourself apart, right? You want to be cool. Everybody wants to be cool. Look at me, I'm 4x3. So that is, we're in a new environment, and it'll probably never look worse than it does right now because I didn't plan or prep any of this. I put up the lamp. I just checked to see if the window was blowing out. It's not. You can't even tell that it's the L of the room behind me. But this is what we're going to start with. And then from there, we're going to build. We're also going to start something new on YouTube because although I like YouTube, I enjoy taking the piss and having some fun with the videos and making some jokes about my own profession and the profession of others that I respect around me. But it's not, I don't know, it just hasn't quite got the sticking power that I have managed to have with the podcast for over 10 years. So what we're going to do, because I don't know if I can do a video every single week or certainly multiple videos at this stage, but maybe when the ball gets rolling, maybe I'll be able to fall into it. But before we do that, I have for the last few years over on Patreon, the Wandering DP Patreon, each and every week, I've done a feature film breakdown. These are videos, much like the YouTube videos, except significantly longer. They go for about anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes, breaking down feature films. And I've done that for the last 5 years. So there's hundreds and hundreds of hours of these breakdown videos that are available to Patreon supporters. But because Patreon is so difficult to go back and to find these videos, I decided, well, why not break them into smaller segments, and I will show them on YouTube as little previews of what is available inside of Patreon. So the videos going forward now, they might have some jokes a little bit at the front like this, but really it's going to be cinematography stuff, and it is excerpts from the videos that happen each and every week over on Patreon. So if you like this style of content, I would certainly suggest heading over to Patreon, becoming a member, and then you're going to get access to, I can't even remember at this stage how many I've done, hundreds of feature film breakdowns. And we're going to see, because sometimes the algorithm doesn't particularly appreciate sharing certain types of content. That's why I have, up until this point on YouTube, I've only done commercials. So this is all feature films, and today we're going to look at an excerpt from the Imitation game, and we're going to look at some of the cinematography, beautiful work there, and basically we're just going to go scene by scene, looking at how they approach things, the lighting, all of that. And even though I have no idea what I'm talking about, I have no idea how they lit it, how they shot it, why they did any of those things, but I can guess. And if I can guess here, sitting with you, I can guess on set. And if I can do it with a positive attitude and a little bit of a can-do spirit, other people around me will think I know what I'm talking about. And they won't have watched this video to realize I have no idea. It's just a significant amount of practice talking to myself in my spare bedroom, which is, ta-da, where we are at today. So I'm going to go make some improvements to the studio, to the room, really, I should start calling it. Maybe put up some pictures, maybe create a little depth, a little bit of shape. But I wanted to show you, this is one light balanced to a window, and not even really properly balanced to a window. This is just, let's get exposure in the spare bedroom, and then we'll see how we build it out from here. Anyway, so enjoy this little clip from Patreon. This is part of a much larger video, which maybe I'll do some segments in the future more on the Imitation game. So let's get into it. Probably if you are getting up there in experience and your stuff still isn't looking that great, probably blocking and camera position and focal length choice is what is letting you down. And this is a masterclass in blocking to the location and blocking to the lights and allowing that blocking to light for you. This whole movie, the talent is perfectly positioned to the light. And I say that specifically. I don't say that the light is positioned to the talent perfectly, but the talent is positioned for the light. right? Because that is what is going on here. Just maximizing where the light is coming from in order to maintain contrast and maintain points of interest. This scene specifically, there's two that we're going to look at. We're going to look at this, like not an interrogation, but it's like a little moment inside of this house, which is between three people, which we're not going to get in the Mackay triangle. And then we're also going to look at another nighttime interior. But really, let's start off with this one. I mean, this is, okay, we're opening up the whole little sequence here. We start on the car. There's no light in there because nobody cares. It's raining, which is cool. And we boom up and out he comes. Looks this way, right? This is probably like the director wants to see this guy's face. So when you get out of the car, make sure you look this way towards the camera. Thank you. And walk inside. Okay, it's raining. Now, this is a thing of beauty. See this thing over here? Whoops. See this over here? This is what is going to be lighting the scene, this window. But look at how it's all covered with crap at the bottom here, like little pieces of paper and little window things to be distracting. I mean, it makes sense because you're in the house of the madman, right? It becomes like A Beautiful Mind or any of those crazy people movies that are geniuses. They always got stuff stuck up everywhere and plots connected and yarn and string going left, right, and center. But here, it's a genius little thing because we don't see the top of this window, right? And watch this pan over, right? It's not a straight pan. It is like a pan, a tilt down. We don't see the window. We don't see the window. We see crap on the floor, which is really nothing in that space. And then we're up to here and the scene is lit. And look at this, man. Perfectly done. Neg, big, soft, not too soft, right? Because of the shadow, but big day coming in here and interesting background, no white walls, putting as much stuff as we can, wallpaper, interesting textures back there, and shooting really shallow. This was shot on film and Master Primes. And man, you got the anamorphic frame, but there is so much going into just this opening shot. And this sets up everything. These people's lines here, him in that position over there, him in this position relative to the window, everything. Whoops, see daisies. Just spilled the water on my desk. Perfect. I will now be parched and shit is leaking towards cameras. Okay, we're back. I think I fixed it. I think I managed to stop any of the water flow before it got serious. Anyway, the blocking here is perfect, and the camera position inside of the room is perfect for this entire interaction. Now watch where it goes from here. We've got our two shot here. We cut to this angle, which, if you're paying attention to any editing, this guy's looking this way in this shot. And then we cut to what is essentially the same time, and now he's looking the other way. And look at how much the light has changed, right? The light is completely different. Gone from that blue light to this much warmer light and much broader and harder as well. So you get this little hot spot in the background because we're lighting from outside, but what it does create is in the L of the room right here, it creates that darkness. And we've got depth out here. We've got our man position in front of it. Just a beautiful looking sequence here. And it all plays to the window, which we could not see. And that's why we can light it up like this and make it look this nice and get this sort of separation from the background because we are using that window to light through. And we've chosen this area inside of the room to shoot through. Now, when we come to this shot, say, Patrick, oh, we're going to see the light. Yeah, but now we don't need to see them looking that way, so we can play this way down. So we just expose for out there. And yeah, we might want to add our little Titan tube rig up here to bring a little bit of level inside of the room. But we don't need to worry about lighting that room because now our focus is in here. So now from over here, we can light this room. And that's how we get this shadow going across here. You get this little edge on these things, on all of this stuff, edge coming from this way that you can't see. And it makes a nice frame here with the doors, trapping them inside. He walks over. You're going to see an edge light inside. See that little light on the side of his face there? See this background light? That is not the window, right? There's another light up here doing this work. And that is what separates him from being swallowed up by the background. Because if it gets too flat, because the background is pretty flat, and then you get his skin tone mixing in, this is almost the same level as this. And we don't want him sinking into the background. You want to pull him out, even with the Master Primes. You got to pull him out with that little tiny edge light above the door. And the frame is great because it allows you to do this. Like you could have a goalpost rig just on the side and then have your little lamp up here just doing this thing. And he just gradually walks into it. And now he's into our daylight, which now you see the big soft source over here. which continues that feeling. But this is balance. This is really, really tricky. Really well done. Oscar did a great job. So now we come around to this side and it's much dimmer, right? This key light is significantly dropped off because now we see that there's no window over here. There's nothing. The window is actually on this side, which here is in front of him. So it should be real fronty light, but it's not, it's sidey. Okay, we go to this shot. We're inside the room with the computer. And what are we doing here? We're definitely doing the above the window push here. All of this stuff is above the window and pushing in. So we're lighting up that window to what looks realistic. And then inside we're using our, like a softbox inside to create all of this stuff. And then pushing light at our characters to edge them out. And then we're using this little door frame to keep things three-dimensional. We slowly creep in. There's a little back and forth chatter. And that was it. That was the whole scene. All right, that's the end of our trial experiment to see how these little feature film snippets go. Did you enjoy it? At this point, do I even bother to ask? Does it matter to me? I mean, I don't know. I want to say I've got at least 200, at least, maybe 300 of these videos ready to go in the can for more sharing. So if you like this kind of stuff, if I was a betting man, I would expect more of it. And maybe I'll work on the introductions just so they're like, let's class it up, right? We're talking about cinematography. Does anybody care? Does anybody care about these squiggly lines? Probably not, but you do if you want to make a job out of it, right? If you want to trick people into giving you money, it's a pretty good gig if you can get it. And how do you get it? Sort of got to know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you better know how to trick people into thinking that you know what you're doing. Because what's the chances that you're going to get caught out? Like if you get a job as a cinematographer, what's the chances you get caught out on set? It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like you just turn around and say, well, you don't know. That's not how they do it where I'm from. Like, what do you mean you call it I don't know, you call it a lens? That's not what we call it. Where I'm from back in the day, we call it the looky-loo. Like, what are you talking about? You look ridiculous. Nobody calls it a lens. Anyway, and then you just move on, right? You try and sweep it under the rug as quick as you can and make fun of somebody on set, usually the audio guy. Okay, that is going to do it for this episode or this video, right? I'm going to have to come up with a separate ending than the podcast ending. That's going to do it. Maybe we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.